Hello there. What's going on, everyone? Today, I want to do a list build using Iden Versio and kind of building an Inferno Squad build. If you have followed my battle reports, I have tried Iden several times recently, and she's always died in the first round because I always tend to put her pretty far forward with covert ops, and I never really got to do as much as I always wanted to do with Iden Versio, and I wanted to take another stab at this list, and I think try and use her a little bit more. I think the way that she's supposed to be used, and not get too carried away, and that's kind of the goal of this list. I think she's a really great commander, a very versatile commander, and also very, very deadly. And every time I try to put a list together with her, I always want to add something else that's very expensive, whether it's a lot of Death Troopers or Darth Vader or a big heavy vehicle or something else, maybe another operative or something that's very expensive that just ends up eating up all of my points and not really giving me the ability to do what I want to do. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So I'm going to build this list today. I want to hear what you guys think. Also, I've got another one of the 12 Days of Life Day giveaway winners to announce at the end of the video. So if you are new here, I am doing giveaways all month long. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos to have a chance to win that or any of my other giveaways. More details on Crabbok.com on how my giveaways work. And I usually announce the winners towards the end of the videos like I'll be doing today. All right, so first off, we are going to add Iden Versio. She is going to be our commander. She's going to be our only commander for this one. I'm not going to fill up the lists with more operatives and more commanders. It's just going to be her. For upgrades, I want to do a couple of things with her. First off, I know her 1 pip is going to give her a standby, and I think that's just a great thing to have, and we got to make it really work, and Overwatch is going to make that absolutely work. Training, I really like offensive push on her, but I also really like Hunter. So you could certainly, kind of swap out. You could give her Hunter and then kind of put her loadout and have offensive push in there swapped out for Overwatch. But I think more often than not, these are the two that I'm really going to want. I could swap out some other training options, but really, I don't think there's anything else that I'd really want to give her. So I think when I think about using Iden Versio, I think to myself, there's almost nothing out of her stuff, out of the ways that I want to build her, that I would swap out for something else, because everything else that I would maybe else want to use is going to be more expensive. So then I get charged for whatever's most expensive. The only exception to that is her blaster. So I'll certainly start her out with the range 1 to 3, the TL50, one of the best weapons in the game. I'm absolutely in love with this game, with this weapon. And then her sniper rifle's good, but it's not as good as the TL50. But we'll put the TL50 on there, and then for the other one, since this is not a flippable weapon, of course we'll put that in the loadout. I always do at least that one. I am going to give her droid because the droid is awesome. The Seeker droid, it's an extra 3 dice if you're close enough to somebody. It gives her a shield. It's just amazing. So I really like this. An extra hit point and as a shield, so it's kind of like 2 hit points. It's also an extra suppressive attack, 3 more dice when you're close up. It's beautiful. And for giggles, we'll give her recon intel in case we decide to switch her to an operative, give her infiltrate, and make her want to get really, really close. Recon intel is really good with that. And that's certainly something that we might end up doing. Now, I'm going to jump straight to Special Forces, and then we'll come back and fill in the core after that, because I do want to run Inferno Squad. And that is going to be the 34-point version. And that's going to mean we're going to have to use Del Meeko as the leader. We're going to have to use Gideon Hask as our basically our 2 guys. We have to run those 2. They're the equipability. They also have infiltrate. They also have marksman. Marksman is something Iden Versio and these guys have. They're going to want aims. Aims are going to really be helpful for them. So I can see a lot of people saying, well, maybe you should also run Veers in this list. And I get that. I do, but Veers then also a lot of times makes you like, maybe I should also consider putting vehicles in if I'm running Veers and all this other stuff, and it becomes like this kind of this bridge too far, and I need those points for other things. So, but it's going to be okay because I've got a plan to get a lot of aims. with this particular list. So first off, Retinue. Retinue is a great ability. As long as they kind of stay close together, these guys are going to start with an aim automatically. And then Reliable One is going to give them that defensive surge if they do need that. So they don't really have to take dodges. They're not going to really need to worry about that. But Reliable One's going to help them defend a little bit better. But Marksman's just really, really good ability. And then we're going to have Lethal in this particular unit's attack pool with Del Miko, which is going to be nice. Hask is going to be the... Did I say Miko was going to be the leader? No, Hask is the leader. And he's also got Coordinate for a Trooper, which is going to be nice too. We'll come back to why that's important because I'll be giving these guys HQ uplinks, so this way he can start maybe activating a short trooper into a mortar or something like that, and we can kind of get a little bit of a droid chain out of this, especially when Iden has to play her command cards that only give her an order. This lets me put a lot of extra orders out there on those turns, which is going to be helpful because Iden has a couple of cards like that are only going to really give her a special order. So we're going to go for comms right here, and we're going to say HQ uplink. We're going to put that on the Imperial Special Forces. And then after that, we are going to have to give them some training upgrades. And for these guys, I'm going to give them offensive push. We already talked about how aims are important. Offensive push is a good one. And the cool thing about that is we've already got offensive push and HQ uplink, so recover is absolutely an option. With these guys, we'll be getting 2 cards from it. But even on turns that we can't, I want to give them tenacity as well. Tenacity is just a great option, especially on a unit that's got 3 different guns now. Because what I can do in this case is I can split fire, and especially with somebody with Hunter, I can split fire with Hunter, and if my first target is wounded, and then I can put the other 2 guns on somebody else, and now I've got an extra aim to use on the other attack. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So wait, not tenacity. Tenacity is the wrong keyword. I meant to say Hunter, right? Did I say Hunter? I think I said Hunter. Yeah. So we're going to put Hunter on them. And then basically Hunter is anytime you're attacking a trooper unit, they have to be wounded. And that means they have to have a wound on them. It can't be like a stormtrooper that lost 1 unit because then they don't have a wound token. They have to be a trooper unit, and they have to have a wound token on them. So this is especially good for enemy commanders or Wookiees, Tauntauns, anything that's got multiple health. So that is them. Now, they don't think they need any grenades. They're not going to get really close, and I'm going to skip the gear. But Iden's 3-pip is another one that's really important. And so I'm going to come down. We'll take a look at it because I'm going to be using Tactical Strike. And this one, while Iden doesn't give out that many orders, when she runs this one, she's actually giving out 4 orders, which is especially nice. And anytime Iden or friendly Special Forces units activate, they get Steady and Tactical 1. That's another aim token. Again, these guys definitely want it. So I want to really maximize that. So I want to run regular Imperial Special Forces also. This is not the version that is Inferno Squad, but they're still not bad, and they're going to work with a lot of stuff that's going to be in this list because we're going to be working on aim tokens a little bit later. So I'm going to add the regular Imperial Special Forces as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to give them the T21. The T21 has 4 dice and critical 2, which is nice. It gives you a little bit of potential vehicle disruption because this is going to be a list that's a little bit light on impact. We only really have Iden with her TL50 is, I think, our only source of impact here. But we are going to have some critical X, and that is kind of all around. It's good for shooting into cover. That's good for shooting vehicles or anything like that, or against heavy dodge-based units. So it's good for a lot of purposes like that. So we're going to put the T21 on there, and we're also going to go with Hunter and offensive push like we did with the other guys. And this is going to give us a lot of aim possibility, some guaranteed aim and some possible aim, and so that's pretty nice right now. Now that is Iden and 2 special forces. I also want to run a 3rd special forces unit so that I can potentially max out this card, and in this case I am going to run Death Troopers. And Death Troopers they are expensive, but I'm only rolling 1 unit of Death Troopers. They're already 76 points just to start. And what we're going to do here is we're actually going to, they're going to be kind of a little bit lighter on the config, but instead of running the DLT, which everybody runs because the DLT is great. He's a range 4 and it's 3 dice, 2 red and 1, and it's impact. I get that, but I'm a DT F16 is one of my favorite is one of my favorite heavies in the game because of the compel ability. That compel ability is so very, very good. It's insane how good it is, especially when you have a high courage commander. And this is one really good thing about Iden, and way you may want to actually leave her as a commander here and not deploy her with infiltrate. It's another good thing about recon intel. It gets you a little bit farther if you need to. But compel, like if somebody's going to lose an action, and again, like those Imperial Special Forces and stuff like that, they do not want to lose an action. They want to be able to aim and shoot if they can. Or at least move and shoot with offensive push, right? So DTF-16 is going to let somebody take that move, get another suppression, and they'll be okay, because it's gonna take them 6 suppression to panic, because Iden is gonna be doing that big old bubble of courage. So DTF-16 works really, really well with a courage 3 commander, or higher, like Palpatine or something like that. So I really like that. But I mean, it's still a Death Trooper, right? She's still got two dice, a black and a white. She's only range 3, but that's okay, because we're gonna put that's not the only upgrade we're gonna put on there. We do want them to be able, they're great at standby also. And they also want aims, because while they don't upgrade results, they get to reroll 4 dice. So what we're going to do is we're going to put Overwatch on this unit. Overwatch is exceptionally good on Death Troopers, because now they can stand by, they get an aim, and then their range is 3, which is a beautiful thing. It definitely is. And of course, we're going to give them their focused fire config. They especially need this, because they are not going to have any range 4 weapons without this one. And it's suppressive, so that is good. And that's what we're going to run for our Death Troopers. Now, that's a little bit light of a Death Trooper dice pool and threat, but it's still a decent threat. And the utility that DTF-16 grants is unparalleled. So I think it's definitely worth it. And I think we have a good blend and a good threatening blend of special forces right now with Iden Versio. And surprisingly, we're still under 500 points with all of this threat. So now it's time to fill up our core options. Now, the first thing we're going to do, those shore troopers are pretty good, and I talked earlier about how I wanted Gideon Hask to be able to use coordinate with his HQ uplink to be able to start a chain, and that is an important thing. So we're going to put a shore trooper on there, and of course a DF-90 mortar, only one of each. Because that's going to get us that's going to start bringing us very close to our limit once we start putting upgrades, because the short troopers, they have to have that T-21. They're just too good to not include. That's a lot of dice, that just makes it for an awful lot of dice. For our personnel on the short troopers, what I am going to add the comms, the Imperial Comms Technician. That's going to be 10 points. I especially like that because it allows them to also take HQ uplink. I really want to be able to do things like fire support, and I really like doing that. Plus, the short troopers, without the offensive surge, they really need those aims. So I especially also like being able to make sure that the short troopers get an order every turn if they can. Plus, they give another one to the mortar. That's less core units out of the pool. It gives me just a little better coordination, better choice on who I activate and when I activate them. But I love the mortars. I love actually just using them as fire support. I mean, you get to add critical 1 to an attack pool, you get to add suppressive to an attack pool, and a couple extra dice. And they're also especially nice with the Death Troopers, who get to reroll 4 dice with their aim, and so you're adding a lot of white dice when they wouldn't have that many. So you're really taking advantage of all those extra rerolls, and you're more likely to get something out of it. So I definitely like that as well. So now we are left with a little bit of points left, and what I want to add is some stormtroopers, and I want the stormtroopers to be able to heal. So I'm going to add 2 units of stormtroopers. Let's go down here, stormtroopers, and I'm going to add 1 here with the FX9 medical droid, and I also want them to be able to give out aim tokens. So we're going to go with the electro binoculars. Electro binoculars give you spotter, so you get to use one of your actions to hand out aims. So these are going to be support stormtroopers, and I'm going to add 2 of those, and that actually only brings me up to 774. So now I have one of my stormtroopers. I can add a heavy to them, and I'm going to add that RT-97 Charlie. that long range. So now I've got a little bit of extra range too. So I've got a lot of options for this Stormtrooper unit. And that brings me all the way up to 800 points. And this is 8 activations. A lot of heavy hitters in this one. We've got Iden, and we've got 3 special forces. The short troopers and the mortar are already good. And then one of my stormtroopers is actually a heavy hitter as well, but has the option to be support if I need them to be as well. And I've got 4 points of healing that I can potentially give out, and lots of extra aim tokens. This is a list that probably wants to keep a lot of its people together, but it doesn't have to, because I've got a lot of infiltrate capability in this list as well. Let's go ahead and look at command cards. We've got. Let's see. We're definitely going to use in this particular build. I'm thinking of running every single one of Iden Versio's cards. So that's going to mean Pulse Scan to start us out. We don't have another 1-pip, so I could go with the Covert, but I'm going to go with Ambush instead. This is a little more versatile here. We've got Push, Pinned Down, and Concussive Blast, and also Incapacitate. So we have a lot of options here. I'm definitely going to go with Concussive Blast, and this is, as much as I looked at this and said, wait, what good is a 5-dice attack when she's already got a 5-dice weapon equipped? Well, for 2 reasons. First off, Scatter and Blast and Suppressive are all nice keywords, and it's a slightly better dice pool, and I get that, but you have to be range 1 to 2. But this is also good if you happen to put her in sniper config. It still gives her at least 1 round of a better close range weapon. But the more important thing about this card is that it lets her recover. So she is going to get a lot of things when she recovers. First off, she's going to get her shield back from her Seeker droid. It's also going to get offensive push ready again too. So we're going to get a lot of mileage out of this card, and so I think it's definitely it's justified in this build. Plus, she's our only commander, so we don't have that much competition for the 2-pip slot. But like I talked about before, with the need for HQ uplinks, here's a 2-pip. It's only Iden Versio. All right, you expect your 1-pips to be only Iden Versio, but your 2-pip here is only Iden Versio. The other thing is Incapacitate. This one's cool and it's fun, but it's only Iden Versio. So both of my 2-pips are only Iden. That's why I've got so many HQ uplinks in this list. So I'll put that one in there too. But this one is potentially really, really fun. It's also very good for objectives, to be able to say, you know what, that guy that was going to run away with the objective, he doesn't even get to activate this turn, if you can do that. Or just put a lot of suppression on somebody too, which is fun. For our 3-pips, we're definitely going, like I talked about Tactical Strike. That's kind of the goal for the whole list right there, is Tactical Strike. And we can certainly go with Coordinated Fire or just regular Assault. I think either option is a good option here, and it really depends on what you want to do. You've got 4 core, so I think Coordinated Fire is actually a really good first turn play if you're able to get into shooting range, or maybe second turn play. But because you can give everybody but the mortar, and you're going to get all of your core, and then you can just pull from the pile, and you'll be able to do what you need to do. You can save your HQ uplinks for another turn. So I'm going to go with Coordinated Fire because it can potentially give me even more aims than I would need. So this is a lot of aims that you're able to give out. Now I want to go back to the beginning of the list when I was talking about, what about Veers? All right, yeah, Veers could give 2, but I've got now potentially 4 from Coordinated Fire, right? Probably not 4, but then also maybe 2 more every turn from the Stormtroopers with the Electro Binoculars, and then also all the offensive push hunters and the retinue that Inferno Squad has with Iden Versio. So I think I've got a lot of aims built in that can generate on this list, and I think we've got our biggest weaknesses right now is maybe a little bit lack of impact if we end up facing vehicles, and then a little bit of lack of handing out lots of orders. Because our 3-pip, if we lose a bunch of core, we won't be able to get as much out of this. And if we lose Iden, we're definitely going to be hurting. But we have HQ uplinks in the list to kind of help take care of that at least a little bit. I can have the shore troopers activate their HQ uplink and get the aim from that, give it to the mortar, and then I can have Gideon Hask activate his with his, or he can do his on if he needs to in Inferno Squad, and then start the chain as well. So we definitely have, a little bit of ways to mitigate some of those weaknesses. I think it's a pretty good list, but I'm going to put a link to it in the video description so you guys can check it out for yourself and let me know what you think. But either way, it looks like I think this would be a fun one. It doesn't have any of the big nasty stuff that I also like to put in lists like this, but I think I'm willing to take that risk. I could maybe see dropping like one of the regular Imperial Special Forces at one point, or maybe even the Death Troopers at one point to try and put in Callus. Once Callus comes out, I think Callus could potentially fit into a list like this, especially with having tactical and sharpshooter. And we gotta see the rest of Callus's cards, but he could also give us a little bit more flexibility on the command cards, which is one of the weaknesses of this list with his contingencies. So I think like in the future, when we get a better Callus preview, I think he could be an honorary member of Inferno Squad. But again, only courage bubble of 2. So if we're putting him in, maybe he goes in place of the Death Troopers, and we're just trying not to. Trying not to take that much suppression. It could be a good thing or a bad thing. I guess we'll have to wait and see. All right, guys, that is going to do it. Now we've got a winner to give away for today. So I want to do a big congratulations to Audrey Brooke. You are winning a $25 Amazon gift card. So you can actually, so today's particular giveaway is for, well, whatever you want it to be. So congratulations, Audrey. Go ahead and shoot me an email. You can find that on the About page of my channel, and we'll get you squared away. I want to thank everybody else. If you did not win, don't worry. There's plenty more giveaways. I do them all the time, and there's still time left in this month for some of the other giveaways of the 12 Days of Life Day. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and thanks to Tabletop Admiral for having a fantastic Legion list builder. So, again, check them out. I'm going to put a link in the video description. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel, there's lots of links down in the description below where you can get yourself some merch or hop in my Discord and talk to everybody in there and ask your questions and join the community there as well. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this all possible. I couldn't do it without your continued support. So thank you all so much. And as always, have a great day.